If you look at the transportation mix in the United States today, about 40+% of greenhouse gases come from transportation, over 70% of the emissions come from transportation, and transportation is 99% dependent on one source of fuel, and that's petroleum.
Oh yeah, there's a huge difference. It used to cost about $15 and now it's $37.64 to fill it up. So, I'm thinking about getting rid of this car.
So what we have is this global march to consume more oil, and 60% of our oil is now imported. So we are vulnerable to the vagrancies of the oil market.
This gasoline station behind me is now selling gasoline for a minimum of $2.30 a gallon and premium at $2.50 a gallon. And they could be running on electricity at an equivalent of 70 cents a gallon. So why are we all driving these cars?
I'm reasonably sure that when the price of gas spikes and they have sticker shock filling up their gas tanks, they know there's a problem. I'm not sure they understand how serious it is from a national security point of view.
We have got to eliminate our dependency on foreign oil, and switching transportation to electricity makes that happen.
People want to drive cars that have higher miles per gallon. They want to go to gas stations less often. They want quieter cars, and plug-in hybrids deliver all those things.
Well, the plug-in hybrid is 95% the same car as the engine hybrid you see today. It's basically the same motors, controllers, inverters, but instead of what's called a power battery, a small power battery, you put in a slightly larger energy battery, and you have an onboard charger, and you have a plug.
The electric motors of a plug-in can integrate into combustible engines that run on a variety of biofuels that can dramatically improve fuel economy.
If you have 20 to 40 miles of all-electric range, 5 days a week, you may never turn your internal combustion engine on. You're basically a battery electric car. And that 6th or 7th day, if you want to go from Austin to Houston, or you want to go from Los Angeles to San Diego, those first 20 or 40 miles, you're an electric car. And then for the other 250 miles, you're a hybrid car that gets good gas mileage. And isn't that what we all want?
Here at the University of California, Davis, engineers are building a prototype of a plug-in electric hybrid, one that could be built on existing auto assembly lines.
Now this car is a Chevrolet Suburban, and we've converted it into a 60-mile all-electric range plug-in hybrid.
With hybrid vehicle technologies, you can design a very powerful car that also gets very good fuel economy. And with plug-in hybrids, you can take even the most powerful car. You can have a plug-in hybrid Corvette.
So this product here is a pre-production plug-in hybrid Sprinter van from Daimler Chrysler. We're just starting to evaluate this vehicle for our own fleet.
Just like a conventional Sprinter vehicle, about the only difference on this vehicle has a small switch that allows you to drive in electric-only mode.
Electric-powered vehicles have been a part of Southern California Edison's fleet for more than a decade. Their confidence in electric-powered vehicles is in part due to the fact that they have years of data that shows the technology works.
In fact, in our fleet of electric vehicles, we have about 220 vehicles. And we've done over 2 million EV miles with our fleet of vehicles. And we have not had any battery problems at all. In fact, we've had several vehicles that have gone over 100,000 miles on the original battery packs.
The fact that you can buy a hybrid vehicle today, a Toyota Prius or a Ford Escape or a Honda hybrid vehicle, indicates that those batteries are extremely robust and extremely durable. It's a very small step and requires really no new technology to make those batteries and those systems for plug-in hybrid vehicles. And that technology is only going to improve.
What we have here is the batteries from the old car. This battery is about 15 years old. It's a metal hydride. It's still good, but it's older technology. What we have here and the TK has in his hand is the new lithium battery, which has the same capacity as the old battery, but it's much smaller and half the weight. We've put the batteries in the car underneath the floor. Every bit of interior space that was in this car is still there.
Basically, what this means is that the larger or more higher energy density these batteries have, the more electricity the consumer could store in the vehicles overnight, and hence it increases the all-electric range the vehicle can operate on without using gasoline.
And more energy means even the largest of vehicles, such as this utility bucket truck or commercial vehicles, can operate electrically. And if plug-in technology works for these vehicles, it will certainly power America's fleet of SUVs.
With an internal combustion engine, we're going to a gas station about 50 times a year, about once a week. But with a plug-in hybrid, you may go to a gas station only 5 or 10 times a year. That's a heck of a lot better.
The success of the gasoline-powered hybrid shows that Americans will support these new technologies, even if they cost more. But the question remains, will the large manufacturers build them?
But you know, if we, a bunch of college students, can put this thing together and make it run as good as a Toyota Prius, what could the car companies do?
In 1942, after Pearl Harbor, this whole auto industry turned itself around in less than a year. They went from building cars and trucks to building tanks and planes in less than a year. And we could do that again. We may have to do that again if we have a disruption in our oil supply.
I'm concerned about the automotive industry, and I think plug-in hybrid vehicles could give them a competitive advantage.
If Americans adopted plug-in vehicles, would it have a net decrease in greenhouse gases? After all, power plants have to use fuel to create the electricity that charges the vehicles.
The most polluted areas are near transportation corridors where vehicles are putting out the emissions. So by removing the emissions from an urban area and moving them out to the power plants, you can actually remove those emissions from a very polluted urban area and then control them better out at the power plants.
We're seeing today more and more renewables. Renewables connected to transportation is a very attractive solution.
Plug-ins become even more attractive when you take into account that the batteries are charged at night, when most utility companies have excess capacity.
So you could connect millions of units of transportation to the grid across this country before you have to build one new power plant.
So today, a movement begins. A coalition of communities, businesses, utilities, and nonprofits have joined together as plug-in partners to demonstrate that a market exists for flexible fuel plug-in hybrid vehicles.
We're going to help create the market for plug-in hybrids, both with our orders and with the incentives for individual consumers to place advance purchase orders. We're going to create the demand.
We can't wait another 20, 30, 40 years to act. We need to act now.
I can think of no better way to ensure the future of this country than to get off oil.
The kind of campaign that we're talking about here has the potential to really be a catalyst for more concerted and certainly long overdue action